concept is simple. It comes from, fatherly.com. The title is The One Question That Can Change All Your Fights for the Better. And it is so simple, and it's something that I have been talking about for a million years, and I like it written up this way. So let me read a few sentences. Of all the skills it takes to nurture a successful and functional relationship, knowing how to navigate conflict is the most important, and it's probably where most of you fail. Healthy communication tends to fly out the window as soon as conversation gets heated. Quote, it's so much harder to access that level-headed, open-hearted, gracious side of ourselves when we're really pissed off at him or her. You might remember that a few weeks back I had a young woman in her 20s who had some serious issues with getting angry. I mean, they would barely start a conversation and she'd be angry and screaming and throwing things or hitting them, or it was out of control. Way out of control. So what I did on the show, and she did contact us back, and it was so cute. This was somebody who had been diagnosed with a personality disorder, the whole thing, right? And I said, okay, the second you get that feeling of I want to kill somebody or something, if you can kill a thing, is to jump up and down 10 times and say, I love you. I'm sure a huge portion of you folks who heard that thought, that's one of the dumber things that Dr. Laura has offered. Who's going to jump up and down in front of the person you're mad at, who's mad at you, whatever, 10 times and say, I love you? That's just silly. Well, you're wrong. She jumped 10 times, said, I love you, and they had a great conversation. What it takes is not protecting yourself and not thinking of yourself first. So the question that can change all your fights for the better, the instant you feel is, how do I take care of him or her at this moment? How do I take care of them? We have a care instinct. Well, I'm not sure caring is an instinct, but we have our care notions and we have our self-protective instinct. When we fight with somebody, not physically, most of us instinctively jump into a state of defending our best interests. We don't need prompting. Natural self-protective instincts argue our own stance. 40 years ago, I went on the John Davidson show. He had a talk show. Really nice hair. I think he was a singer. Nice looking man. Big, toothy, happy grin. And they let me do the weirdest things on that show. They were very nice to me. So once a week or so, I would go on and do something. So he and I played a husband and wife. And I set up a scenario. I don't remember what it was now, but we were disagreeing about something and it was getting heated. I said, okay, let's stop at this point. We're both getting heated, which means we're thinking of ourselves and we're not thinking of each other. So let's each make believe we're an attorney. We're a lawyer now. And I'm a lawyer and I have to defend your position against me. And then you're a lawyer, you have to defend my position against you. And it took him a moment to wrap his head around that, because that's not how we think when we're upset. And finally, it was lovely. So in the midst, we were sitting in the audience when we did this, I believe. So in the midst of this large audience, I was defending him. He was defending me. So when I defended him, I brought up all the points that, to be fair, sweetie, you were tired. I picked a bad time. I was impatient. I wanted what I wanted when I wanted, how I wanted, period. And that you were tired and all that was slightly irrelevant to me because I really wanted it now. And now I feel stupid now that I've said this. That was insensitive. If you did that to me, I'd be very, very upset. And then he defended me. Well, you know, I did promise that I'd do this, and I kept procrastinating, and I never got around to it. So I can understand why you would get a little feisty about it. So after we both did that, we came to an agreement that it'd be done tomorrow, and he would take charge of it and go out and get the stuff we needed and take care of it. And then ostensibly you hug, you kiss, you smile. And that's how you take care of it. You think of the other person's side. Think of the other person's side. How do I take care of them? So in any conflict, you know, whether you care about the other person or not, if you don't force yourself to see their point of view, it's not going to go well. Affectionate touch is everything. Touch buffers against the negative effects of a conflict. It promotes positive interpersonal thoughts and feelings. Attachment, security, support, intimacy, warmth, compassion, higher relationship satisfaction, easier conflict resolution. In other words, when we use affectionate body language, holding hands, hugging, sitting close, touching each other's arms, in the face of conflict, holding hands, because it reminds you that you are bonded. And it's harder to be sarcastic. It's harder to be petty. It's harder to be impatient. It's harder to be all things bad when you're holding hands while you're talking. So please remind yourself to think about how much you care about him or her. You don't forget to defend yourself. You don't forget to defend your point of view, ever. But you're doing it in a way that allows the other person really to think that their point of view matters to you, whether you agree with it or not, but their point of view matters to you. And jump up and down 10 times, unless you have a bad heart, and do it once, and say, I love you. My number, before I go on, where is that? Here it is. This is an actual photograph from a newspaper. Keith sent this. He said, quite the obit. And I thought, what could this be? And here's a picture of an older woman, short haircut, white hair, glasses. Not a pleasant looking picture. Somebody made an effort not to find a pleasant